What can the web calculator do for me? The web calculator is a decision-making tool that is useful in the swine industry. But before I tell us more, I would like us to have a brief introduction. We all know that the rapid intensification in pork production has continually introduced new processes and equipment, technology advancement, and innovation in the system so as to meet up with the demands in the pork production. As producers, new technologies are constantly being introduced into bands due to promised benefits and enhanced profitability. However, these innovations can also introduce new challenges and costs, such as the impact of new technologies on the workers' health and safety. So, how do we determine what new technology is best for a specific situation, or what new projects to invest in our barn? This brings us to the web-based calculator. The web-based calculator for decision making was developed based on the study on the needleless injectors. The technology decision-making calculator used the test case of a needleless injector and as an example of a new technology within the ban industry. In the needleless injector study, we were able to compare the use of the new technology with the old conventional needles, and this was compared in using a model. The model for the study, this is the model that was adopted in studying the needleless injector. We were able to look at different aspects as it relates to the use of the new technology. We looked at the implementation cost of the needleless, the injury rates, exposure assessment, workers' perception, and productivity. The overall goal was to develop to determine the net loss or gain of implementing the new technology within the swine industry. The final format of this study produced a comprehensive, understandable, usable, and accessible toolkit that can help or aid with decision-making process within the swine industry. So I would like to give us some of the findings from the needleless injector for us to have an understanding of the project and the results of different aspects of the study. In the implementation cost, we discovered that the cost of needleless injector may be higher as a startup cost, but it reduces labor over time. In the aspect of the injury rates, we discovered that the needleless injector reduces the rate of needle stick injury with no impact on upper limb musculoskeletal. On the exposure assessment, muscle activity is lower in needleless injector, but faster injection rate could lead to higher cumulative load. The worker's perception, the needleless injectors are found to be faster and easier to use, as reported by the workers already implementing the technology. But some of the challenges could be in maintenance and accidental dosing, as reported by the workers. Productivity, expert users of the needleless injector can actually cut down time in half of performing the injection tasks while using the needleless injector as compared with using the conventional needles. So these are the findings from the needleless injectors study. All of these components was put into developing the web-based calculator. This model also, we found it to be replicable for other new technology. But what about for a specific technology you might be interested in? You can also consider this using this model. Next, I'd like to talk about the economic model behind the needleless injector. The economic model is a simplified description of reality created to form a quantifiable relationship. This model compares the current situation in your barn with one that includes the new technology. So you only need to introduce or to enter in the things that changes. So using the web calculator, we factored in these various inputs, and the result is usually the result given in form of incremental cost benefit ratio, the variance around cost and benefits, and lastly the range of value for different pork prices. Being a new tool, is always advisable to go through to learn more about the tool and to be able to read to find out how it is applicable or what values will be necessary for your barn. This is how the web-based calculator look. You can always click on any of these inputs to find out more information. You can click also on the learn more to get more information with examples of the needleless injector study that was done. You may want to know what numbers you should use, what values need to be imputed. We already provided a background information and things to consider, and the numbers we found during the needleless injector to help you in inputting your figures or the values that's in your own specific situation, that applies in your specific situation. Of course, each new technology is different. We understand that each new technology is different, but it is hoped that this background information will allow you to make an educated guess around your enterprise. So let's use an example here of a nursery pig feeder as a new technology that I'm about to invest in my barn. So what are the things I'll be considering before I make my decision? First, I would like to see the potential pros and the cons, and to consider this, weighing them against what needs to be done. Probably the major pros here is my ability to save more on feed, and also my cons major one may be in terms of the startup cost. With the web-based calculator, I'm able to quantify my pros and my cons, and to be able to see if this new technology will be beneficial or not. So essentially, as a strategic planner, I will be weighing the pros and the cons of implementing the technology, and with the help of the calculator, I'm able to analyze and quantify whether the pros outweighs the cons. This is the web calculator. Using those web calculator, I will be using the annual cost as it relates to a yearly basis, the technology related cost. If I click on each of this icon, it takes me to information page to get more additional information as it relates to each of the inputs. We go back to the web calculator and I fill in my figures. The current feed cost, if that is 30,000 Canadian dollars, but since I'm planning to invest in the new nursery pig feeder, I'm anticipating a change in the reduction. I'm anticipating a reduction in the cost of my feed by 0.1%. So being a reduction, it's going to carry a negative figure, and that is why we have a negative value there. Energy costs, the new technology does not run on energy, so I don't have to have extra costs in terms of energy, so I put in 0. So I click on that for the monthly pay, training costs, technology related costs, hourly wage, turnover rates, and we get to an interesting part on the injury related cost. This we have to be careful about filling it in, because it is usually maybe hard to guesstimate, so you can click on learn more to get more information. So we see clearly that sometimes a new technology can solve one problem and introduce another. So most times what the new technology can cause in terms of health and safety impact on the workers, this aspect is not usually known. But with a printable hazard checklist, we can always analyze the likely hazard that a new technology may introduce, or how it can impact on the health and safety of the workers. So this helps us to kind of to predict the potential hazard that may be associated with adoption of a new technology. So we go back to the injury related costs, and say for instance the workers sustain injury and they have back pain. This might be costing something up to this amount, but when we have a prevention plan in place, in terms of if we have done our due diligence by mitigating against the hazard, we are able to reduce the costs if we have been proactive by getting a bucket loader. So having that in place will change our injury related cost to 0, because in the first place workers won't have to sustain an injury, since we have a preventive measure against injury. We go to the productivity impacts, and we have this number of counts of pigs, and this basically all talk about the benefits in terms of what is obtainable presently. Anticipated productivity change is the one that what you expect in terms of production increase. So the cost variance is also important to fill this in. It's always safer to have a higher variance cost and a lower variance in terms of benefit. So you click calculate, and it takes us to the results part. The results are in 4 folds. We have the incremental cost benefits, and this estimate tells us that the new technology we're about to invest in is profitable. Reason being that anytime we have a greater than 1, then that tells us that the new technology is profitable. But a less than 1 incremental cost benefit shows that the new technology is not profitable. The other part of the result is the cost benefit ratio, and the cost report and the benefit report. You can click on print. So we would like you to try and use this tool. We're still undergoing updates. Your feedback will be very important to us. I would like at this point to thank all our partners, the Prairie Swine Centre, and all the support we got from all the partners. We acknowledge I'd like to acknowledge the investigation team and also the stakeholders advisory group. Thank you.